Admiral's log. After a long and arduous war, peace has finally been secured with the Germans. Their capitulation has come at a significant cost to them, as they've been forced to relinquish a vast expanse of territory. The result is a near total Chinese control of the Caribbean, a strategic victory that solidifies our influence and secures vital resources for our nation. While we celebrate this hard-won triumph, my thoughts are already turning to the future. The lessons learned from this conflict have been invaluable, and they've reinforced my belief that our journey is far from over. The landscape of global power is ever-changing, and I fully expect that another war may erupt in the coming years. In anticipation of future conflicts, I have ordered the development of newer, more advanced warship designs. These vessels will incorporate the latest technological advancements and innovations, ensuring that our Navy remains at the cutting edge of naval warfare. Our shipyards are already gearing up for production, ready to bring these formidable vessels to life. The path ahead may be fraught with uncertainty, but we face it with confidence and resolve. The dragon's roar will continue to echo across the seas, as a testament to our enduring strength and unyielding determination. Today's video is kindly sponsored by the Blockzone. The Blockzone gives you a ton of things to do when you're not gaming, in the form of these big projects. Now, they have a ton of different projects for you, both in the form of cars. I recently came across the various tanks that you have. I've already shown, for example, I think the Tiger tank before. You got the T-34, you have the M47 Patton, you even have the Ferdinand in there, and this one's RC. I quite like the Fletcher. This is one of their newer arrivals. 2,315 pieces to put together, so that ought to keep you busy for a while. Wouldn't try to play with it in the bath, because some parts might come off, though. And what I also found recently was this cute all-terrain military tank. More like a buggy than a tank, but I think it looks cute. Now, the Blockzone has these projects. They do tend to run a little expensive, so what you can do is add one of these to cart, and then go to complete order, and use my code STEALTH upon a discount. Because if you add stealth, you're getting 10% off. So this really helps. You can also click the link down below in the description and get to building from the Blockzone. Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome to episode 35. The United States fleet, in its entirety, has been found in the Caribbean. The Georgia, a battleship of the same class. 12 14-inch guns. That's quite a lot to chew off for the ancient Enigma Hun. She has not yet received her refit, which means that she's sporting her 18-inch guns. Assisted today by Crook Tuna and Shandong. Both are relatively modern cruisers. This is the Mechamedic 1940 refit, although it's currently September 1944. But because all my ships have been out to sea for the last decade, I really haven't had time to modernize those ships. Nor have I really had a whole lot of technological breakthroughs, except maybe for installing these things with a couple of gas turbines. But I find it to be a bit of a difficult pick at times. Do I want to modernize more ships? Or am I going to build new classes entirely? There's something to be said for either case. Let's see if this Georgia ship of the Americans is anything interesting. Yeah, lots of quadruples. 32 5-inch guns. They are serious about their anti-destroyer operations. Interesting loadout here, or slash layout of the turrets. Bit surprised, but I guess it can work. And as for your assisting destroyers, this is, yeah, pretty typical destroyer. 6 5-inch guns and a couple of torpedo launchers. How far can those torpedo launchers reach? 15 clicks. That's no small feat. That is no small feat. Range to the target, about 40 clicks. And I have the CAs intercept the target. And seeing as the DDs are capable of detecting torpedoes, they gotta go first. As for the Enigma Hun, we can punch this thing out to 39 clicks, and this is 31. So we'll have to be a bit patient. There we go. Just make sure you're targeting the battleship, right? I know it's possible to hit a destroyer at this range. It's just not that likely. So, wouldn't really want to waste my time on that. What is your reach? About 33, 34? 27? Huh? It's a tier 3 14-incher. Okay. Well, I gotta keep in mind that the United States has been dissolved and then reformed, so it's possible that they took, well, a bit of a beating when it comes to their ability to research. They might be behind. According to the game stats, my technology is actually very advanced. So it's possible that this is going to be a bit of a pushover. As for future invasions of the United States, I'm not sure if that's going to be possible, not with the tonnage that I currently have, and if I also want to put my ships back into dry dock to modernize them. Both of these things have to happen. The invasion and the modernization. So it's going to probably be sequential. Couple of ships in modernization, couple of ships working on the invasion. Oh, those damn guns are really punching holes in my ship here. Put some pressure on the DDs. Flooding. Good. Ow. There you go. Now the other one. Good work. Now sink them off entirely, and then we torpedo the battleship. That's one. This guy next. Here. Don't worry about the battleship. It's only got 14-inch guns and, you know, a couple dozen secondary guns. Prepare the torpedoes. Actually set them to safe. So that we have a pretty high reliability of actually getting a hit. Yeah, that thing's going down. But so is my cruiser. Shandong took a big hit there. Torps away. And here come the first couple of candidates. One hit. Do you not have a torpedo blister? Because that was one hit that did 14,000. You got an anti-torp too, that's not bad. Many bulkheads, crown quarters. The AI does weird things with the armor. And I'm seeing this a lot, so I'm kind of going to write it up as something that the mod does. And keep in mind, I just set this mod up as I was starting the campaign, and I haven't updated neither the game or the mod since. So it's very possible that everything has changed, and a lot of these things that I'm facing have been addressed. It's just something that I am unwilling to test, because it is possible that I, let's say, update the mod, update the game, and then find that my save game doesn't work anymore because it's somehow no longer compatible. That would be very unfortunate. So it's not something that I'm really willing to risk. And therefore, you're just going to be getting the same performance, if you will. Be it good or bad. Now, Georgia has buoyancy issues. So does my cruiser. She's listing so much that I'm expecting these guns not to want to fire too much more. Although they can always point directly astern. And they're still connecting with my ship. No surprise there. $20 clicks out. Yeah, a bit more flooding, boys, and we got her. That's a pretty hefty expense for the Americans to lose. 4.6 billion worth of battleship. Not to mention the construction time. Speaking of, I'm never too sure about the construction time for the AI. Because for my ships, the construction time, depending on which class you pick, is anywhere from about 8 months for a destroyer up to around 34 months for a battleship. I'm not sure if the AI is getting the same sort of build time, or if they maybe have a better build time. Like maybe the AI is capable of spitting out a ship every 12 months instead of 34 months for a battleship. Not sure on that. Yeah, she's listing really badly. Boom. Flooding. But I think we punched a hole in her stern that was already flooded, so we're not actually getting any more flooding. We need to get her bow hit. She seems to be aware of it too, because she's turning over to starboard. Why is my 18-inch gun still attempting to range find? We can end the battle. Yeah, I don't think so. We'll end the battle, alright, just not the way that you hope. I'm not clicking that button. What I really appreciate about the game is that you can set this ship to auto-select type of ammo, and it picks armor piercing for the 18-incher, and the 13-incher is basically let's not even bother, so it's picking HE. Unfortunately, you cannot quite do this yourself, except for setting this thing to auto, because if I go HE, it's all gonna go HE or all AP. So if you want to do something like that, you're gonna have to let the AI pick. Now this ship might be fairly modern, but she's not exactly doing very well versus the Enigma Hun. And thus immediately proceeds to damage my main tower. Isn't that nice? HE on everything. 18-inch HE should be enough to cause some flooding. Especially seeing as the superstructure of this ship is very weak. That's a valid target. Fore belt, aft belt, decks. Any hit should be capable of causing a flooding. And they're not exactly getting away either. Normally I wouldn't be able to keep up. 23 knots versus 32. But considering how badly damaged the ship is, not a problem. Not a problem. A few minutes later, and the Georgia sinks, giving me 59,000 victory points. I mean, it's nice, but seeing as the United States has no colonies, I can't actually use those things for anything but money. They don't have any ships to claim either, so that's not exactly an option. As for their main territories, well, it's main territories. They cannot be claimed. So I guess we're going to be treating the United States as a bit of an ATM for now. And maybe they're going to immediately sue for peace. Seeing as they have no navy, I think that would not be a bad idea. And there it is. We're going to fight to the end. I'm not exactly sure what the end is going to look like. But, well, maybe we can invade. Let's try that. First, though, ships. We have a lot of spare money. So let's start spending that on building out more shipyard capability. Like, I'll never be able to build a ship that's almost 300,000 tons, but I can definitely get more ship building capability, which is valuable. So let's get a couple of those new ships built. I think the lanky gits are going to be more valuable in the short run, because we need to have those hydrophones and sonars of theirs. And that gives me not enough to get a grumpy gamer guy ship. Same for the Zheigong, which is the one with the 17 inchers. I think it's time to start culling our numbers a bit. We have the Lanky Gits coming up. We got a 38 Tails class ship coming up. That is the one with the 6 18-inchers. What sort of classes do I have? Because I was operating... Yeah, we're gonna start scrapping these old Jellins, especially now that I don't actually have a whole lot of use for these cruisers at the moment. I'm going to start scrapping them. We got one old E46 from 1927. We have one Enigma Hun. I'm going to start scrapping the Zhejiangs. They're old ships. They're from 1915. They've served me well, and they can now go to rest. Unfortunately, I can't exactly use them as a museum ship, and they're probably too old to get sold off. Nor do I really need the money. The Chengdus... Those 12.9s can come in useful against the Germans, because the Germans still have a lot of small ships. And the 12-inch, as well as the 8-inch fire at a pretty decent pace. So they're useful. We got we got two Auras, the Aura and the Nidox. We're going to keep those around. And there's one E46 from 1921 in Eastern South America. Is there really? Here. Hello. You're going to go to the board. And you're going to get scrapped. So, what are we going to do with the ships that we do have? Which ships need it the most? I think the Enigma Hun herself. She's out at sea in the Caribbean. So, let's get her back. because she was just out there to deal with the enemy. So you guys are going to go back to Willemstad, and you're going to get refit there. As for the rest, 1942, we got the 38 tails coming out. That's 3 of them. We got the auras from 1940. How about updating the mechamedics? Because we've got quite a lot of those. I just think there's not a whole lot for them to upgrade. This is the 6th reversion, or the 6th version of this ship. And so far, they just do very well. The only thing that they might need is a bit more ammo, because during long encounters, they run short. They just don't have enough ammo. As for upgrading them to gas turbines, I guess that could be a valuable upgrade for this ship, because it might free up some capacity and give them better acceleration. Now, with all the new gear that I have, it's going to automatically take 2 months to refit them. As for installing the gas turbines, yeah, it does help a little. Why not? Let's go for that. As for additional tech, like I can try giving them increased complement of shells. I'm going to take away the capitalistic and swap that back to standards, because I find that I ricochet a lot of the time, and I don't like that. As for speed, they're doing 33 knots, so that's fine. They can traverse 37,000 kilometers before needing a refuel. Their armor is good enough. And this is pretty much what I would consider endgame. Like, at some point, there just isn't that much more that you can improve about a specific cruiser before the cruiser becomes just absurdly overpowered. Which these things are, I'd say, already very much at risk of being. They're just really good ships. And especially with a hefty inner belt, protection for secondaries, they just have a lot going for them. I don't really know what else to put on them to make them even more dangerous. Like, this is the increased capacity. What's their explosion chance? 3.9. Increase their barbettes a bit then. 3.3. Take off some armor from the second inner belt and the primary inner belt. Come on. There. Okay, 2 months to refit the Mechamedic 049 to the 1944 refit. Now, I have a lot of these ships still around, so this is going to be a bit of a lengthy project. However, with the ships coming out of dock due to repairs or potentially from refits, I think I can get them all refit in about 8 months or so. A few months later, after getting a lot of capital ships and cruisers back together in the Gulf of Mexico, it could be the ultimate opportunity to invade the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Coast needs a hefty invasion force, 344,000 tons. And thankfully I have more than that, yet not quite enough. Like, I have 487,000 tons, but I would ideally send more. Thankfully, Enigma Hun, Gosrith, and Nanning are now back in service. Not yet upgraded, but without the American fleet, I don't really foresee that as a problem. So in 1 more month, we should have more ships out there. As for the rest of the fleet, well, we're nicely modernizing, especially the Kahar deserved it. These Mechamedic from the 1940s, some of them a bit older than that. We have a new flight of the Mechamedic 3s coming out, and we have a couple of the light cruisers joining us in about a year. As for the new battleship, I do believe that we have them. Yes, here they are. The Cursed Fish, I have one in Philadelphia, one in Santo Domingo, and one in Kingston. So it's all geared towards the Atlantic, in case at some point I want to start visiting the visiting the Germans. As for these 38 tails, that is 60,000 tons a pop. Let's have one of them also spawn in the area. Let's say in Cuba. I'm going to have one over at Hong Kong, for the reason of potentially invading the area around the German islands there. And the last one, well, let's put that in Maine. Might come in useful there. So let's see, can we actually invade the Gulf Coast? There's a lot going for me. I might be able to pull it off this time. So, it took a year, but I finally have control of the Gulf Coast. A year actually takes quite a lot of time to render, even if I'm not updating my ships. An average turn now takes 2 to 3 minutes. It's getting pretty nuts. Anyway, the way that I was able to take this is because Pensacola doesn't have that big of a port, and Tampa, well, after my battle cruisers and heavy cruisers got done with it, didn't have a port at all. The same cannot exactly be said for the southeastern seaboard. This is 400,000 tons, 395,000 tons, and 444,000 tons. So we're totaling just over 1.2 million tonnage. It's a bit much. We've already tried the west coast. San Francisco, 447, San Diego, 279, and over here, well, it's potentially slightly easier, but not by much. So what I'm going to do is make peace now with the US. Wait, I can invade them again? Haha. I guess it's possible. You know what? Why not? Yes, we shall commence the attack. The reason why I'm doing this is because I have found that if you don't succeed the first time, there's actually a much better chance that you'll get it the second time. Because your ships bombard the enemy coasts constantly. And as they do that, the port resistance goes down. The ports get damaged, the invasion resistance goes down, and bit by bit, you're actually able to start taking territory. I mean, well, not bit by bit as in kilometer by kilometer. It's just you are slightly more likely to actually complete your invasion. As the invasion begins, we are already getting some port strikes. It's not going to go very quickly, because this is a major port. We're hitting Charleston. But bit by bit, we're going to be able to take chunks out of Charleston. And as Charleston goes down, bit by bit, we're also going to be able to get, well, slightly better odds at invading the eastern seaboard. Because right now, my chances are just about 0. So I'm going to continue harassing Charleston. I'm going to continue then with harassing Norfolk. And even then, Wilmington stands in my way at 487. Sorry, that's not Wilmington. This is Wilmington at 395,000 tons. So this is probably going to take a couple of months. These months I am actually using to build more and more ships. The situation is nice and calm, relatively speaking. So I have the Grumpy Gamer guy, same class, coming out. That's 85,000 tons. We have a couple of the Zhegongs coming out. That is the ship with the 17-inchers. We have another Cursed Fish being built. We have the Jishin, which is another Grumpy Gamer guy class. So again, 8 15-inchers. The 38 tails are all in service now. One of them is operating on the eastern North America position of Portland. So this ship, at 60,000 tons, can now join the fight. And I'm going to have it, ideally, maybe it can work, attack solo versus the port over at Norfolk. There's also the Cursed Fish 2. This thing is also going to join. I'm not sure if I've ever torpedoed a port before, but here's to trying. As for the rest, well, we got the Kahar over there in Hamilton. I'm not going to keep it there in Bermuda because it has done a lot for me to protect shipping. And I might not be at war with Germany now, but that can change in a moment's notice. After a couple months of not successfully invading, I now have an actual better chance. Because the port of Charleston has been reduced to nothing, and we've even started hitting Wilmington. So the port of Wilmington is now only 39,000. And that does leave Norfolk at 444,000, but it's actually a pretty nice improvement, because now I only need 387,000 tons. And that is something that I can muster, because I got 79,000 tons there, I got 487,000 tons there, and another 221 here. So everybody, line up on Wilmington, we're going in. Many months later, I finally have control over the southeastern seaboard. With this comes an okay amount of oil production per capita, like it's not that impressive. But hey, it's another 2.3 billion that I get to add to my budget. And barring only the western United States and central USA, I have taken over all of the USA. There's not a whole lot of US left. With this, they have also not really been able to present any kind of threat out to the, let's say, eastern North America region. So that means I can free up some ships here. Although if I want to maintain any, well, semblance of a army logistics, I'm going to have to deploy a lot more ships. Since I was doing this, apparently the Italians took offense. I'm not exactly sure what I did. I just kept my fleet here, invading. Maybe that is what ticked the Italians off. Maybe they think that the Chinese Empire is growing a little too large. Well, that's unfortunate for them because we built for China. And as we do so, we're going to gobble up some territory here. We're going to gobble up some territory there. The Italian fleet, how are they looking? They're very advanced. That's interesting. So am I. With these advanced ships, they have 35 battleships. That's a lot. I'm eager to see if those battleships will live up to anything real. Are they actually capable of using any of these battleships to actually sort any kind of effect? My ships have somewhat taken damage, but most of them are fine. I'm going to put a couple of the ships... Actually, let's just put all the ships in Philadelphia for the second and be sure to fix them. And the same here. I'm going to fix up all these ships. I'm not sure... Yeah, some of them have taken some damage. So let's fix up the ships and then go pay a visit to Italy. I'm not strictly looking to take any territory over here in the Mediterranean because that means if I ever go to war with Spain or with France, well, when, not if, when, that is going to mean I need to defend a lot of transports in the Western Med, and that means stationing a battleship, which I don't want. I am still building a couple of battleships. The ships that are currently getting built are the Grumpy Guy Gamer, the Zhejiang, which is a 74,000-ton battleship with 17-inch guns. We have another one of those. We got another Grumpy Guy Gamer, and we have another Cursed Fish. We already have 3 of the Cursed Fish 2 in service. These are all currently in the Eastern North America region. They have just been part of the invasion force. There's also a State Belt and another Cursed Fish getting exported to Greece and to Croatia. So we're definitely still getting quite a bit of money from this. But my expenses are very high. I'm paying $665 million a month to keep this whole circus running. And that is building additional ships, repairing my ships at the moment, doing more research. And more research is becoming less interesting. I finished research on torpedo tubes, on small guns, on destroyers, cruisers, armor quality. I am getting to the Mark V 18-inch gun. That's a very dangerous piece of weaponry. So that means after this one's complete, we only really have 2 more projects, the 19 and the 20. So with those under our belt, the only thing we can really research is, well, some, let's say, small stat bonuses to the radar. So the range finding. I already have radar rangefinder 3. I just haven't really installed it much. And then we might get, what, gas 2? No, diesel 2. Marine diesel 2. No, I already have that too. Oh, it's a stat bonus. Yeah. So the effects really of additional research are slightly more marginal. There are some technologies that can still help, like percentage-based. Sure, it helps a bit. Hull construction, getting your ships out faster, definitely useful, but 1%? It's not that interesting to really spend a whole lot of money on it. 0.5% less armor weight, wow. The only thing that might still come in useful is more torpedo speed. 29% torpedo damage is a heck of an improvement. That is massive. And torpedo propulsion could be very beneficial to the ships that I have in service of the Cursed Fish 2 class. So with those, the torpedo stats, yeah, they help. As for everything else, maneuver warfare maybe. I think it's going to allow you bigger forces. We're also doing better naval bombardment. Plus 145%. I'm not even sure what sort of naval bombardment we're doing now. So anyway, I might be able just to cut back on the research a bit, save some money there. That'll take slightly longer, but I'm not that interested. So, fleet repair, and then we're going to pay a visit to the Western Med, with the intention of sinking some Italian battleships, which can definitely be found here. The reason I want to sink the Italian battleships is to build up a war score. And with that war score, I might be able to take a couple of their colonies here. Of course, you cannot really capture the inland ones, but I can definitely capture these ones. This is 2.5 billion. This is 1.3. This is 6.5. Italian Somaliland is very expensive. Eritrea, 6.5 billion. I mean, shame if something happened to it, but I'm sure the Italians won't part with it easily. So we'll just have to do some gunboat diplomacy. A few months later, Germany also enters the war. Not necessarily allied with the Italians, but they're here. So this means we're now going to have to deal with a lot of battleships. The Italians have all their ships. The Germans have potentially even more ships. How many ships are we looking at? 164. Most of these light cruisers and destroyers. Thankfully, I'm assuming that these are only only 13 battleships of those 100,000 ton ships. The Italians at this point now have 39 battleships, so they have a very substantial potential firepower. As for their combined economies, we're looking at 4.6 trillion versus my 700 billion. So I'm fighting a foe which is about 6 to 7 times my economy. And that also means that I'm fighting an enormous shipbuilding capacity. The Germans are building 41 new ships. The Italians are building 32. I'm building 11. As good as my shipyards are, well, I can still only field 610,000 tons. So let's build even more. Make more shipyards. Build more ships. In the meanwhile, I'm still waiting for my Chinese ships to get repaired. Over here we do have some of the new ships, so I'm very eager to test those out. Most of the ships did take some mild damage. I'm waiting for the Scheffler Gaming to come back out of dock, because it is one of the biggest ships that I have. And if I'm going to be fighting an Italian fleet of 13 battleships here, I need the firepower that I can get. But 13 battleships without escorts also opens up a hell of an opportunity. The Cursed Fish, if they're able to move, which unfortunately they're not because they're repairing, would be an ideal answer to give to the Italian fleet. Now I have the Nagia over here. I have the Cursed Fish, but I would love to send these things out together. Alone, I don't feel that they're going to be that useful. As for the area over here, I do have the heavy cruisers, but not any of the Cursed Fish over here. So we're going to have to wait just a bit longer before we're going to be able to deal a hammer blow to the Italian Navy. Or at least, that's the goal. A month later, the war with the United States is finally over. It only took me 69 months. Nice. The Americans don't really have anything that I want, except for the battlecruiser Hawaii. The rest of them is all light cruisers, which I'm not that interested in, but their battlecruiser could become in very useful, if only as a sacrificial target for the Italians to try and shoot at. A serious incident has occurred involving... Fine. If the British want to party... If the British want to party, we'll party. Okay, the Germans also want to party. And they are rampaging through Guantanamo Bay. Fine, at least we know where all the German battleships are at. That is one concern that is now easily addressed. So yeah, you can do a port strike. I won't really stand in your way because I also have to deal with the Italian fleet, which is still gone. Ah, there they went. They got two light cruisers coming in. Oh, there's... Look at this stuff. Like, the Italians. The Caribbean is going to be capital for all the warships. All the major players are going to be here. All the battleships. That's a lot of battleships to deal with. I could go for a go where the enemy isn't strategy, though, and now try and go after the territories that the Germans still have here, and see if that's going to be able to kite them away. The port of Friedrich Wilhelmshaven in New Guinea is not that big. Herbertshaw is 41k. Yeah, I think we might have an option here, because this is 10 billion. That is a very big economy. Unfortunately, I don't really have that many ships here, because most of the ships that I was building, well, I made sure that they got delivered to the United States. That is where I want them. I do have the Guanwen over here, which is another Cursed Fish, but it's only 40,000 tons. We're going to need a little more ship. We're going to need something a little bigger. So, the Tianjin. 30 Tails class battlecruiser. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, guys, we're going to start following all these ships into battle. Well, invasion, rather. Go where the enemy is not. Send the cruisers, send the destroyers, anything that floats. Even these really old destroyers. Hell, if it has a gun, we're going to send it into the fight. As for the German fleet, I am curious. Oh, there's the Lanky Git. I'm curious to see exactly where we're going to do battle with them. But it's, well, that's really the only question. Where are we going to do battle with them? Because there is going to be a battle. There's going to be a reckoning. The question now is, which new artificial reef are we building? And at the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be a new favorite diving spot somewhere in the Caribbean. Because I do believe that most of my ships are ready for battle. We still have some heavy cruisers with a bit of damage, but most of the battleships are fine. So, we're going to start fielding a big fleet here. I can have 35,000 crew under my command max. Seeing as these battleships have a very, very sizable crew complement, I might be able to add one more ship. Yeah, this should fit. Oh, you're commissioning? What's happening with that ship? It's commissioning, it's still 2 months out. Oh, that's unfortunate. Fine. I will have these ships also sort of join the same area, although not exactly the same spot. The Cursed Fish is still repairing, but that's fine. I want to see how the Italians respond. I want to see if they're actually planning on coming all this way. Or if they're just going to start harassing everything and everybody over here in the Caribbean, along with the Germans. Looks like that artificial reef is not quite going to be in the Caribbean yet. The Germans are not that interested in fighting. They're busy port striking, so I can always turn them into an artificial reef. First, the Italians. As I'm looking at these stats, the Italian ships don't seem to be incredibly intimidating. There's just a lot of them. These guys are packing 11s, these guys are packing 15s, but it's just 6 15-inch guns. It's not that special. As for their displacement, about 43,000 tons, so I'm thinking either a lighter modern battleship, or potentially something like a modernized Dreadnought. Considering that they got an okay amount of casemates, I'm leaning more towards the Dreadnought option here. As for their price tag, about 2 billion a pop. And pop they shall. Except for the Fama class battleships, they're less than 1 billion. They're 895. I am not expecting these things to really put up a fight against my battleships. As for the ships that I have 2 Cursed Fish class, both the Cursed Fish 2 and the Najia. Oh, sorry, I have 3. I also got the Shiheng. So we can send we can send north of 150 torpedoes into this wall of battleships. Their heavy cruisers, light cruisers, and destroyers might send out some warning, but it's probably not going to be enough, not against that many torpedoes. As for the rest, we have the Enigma Hun, we have the Gosrith, another Enigma Hun, we have the Lin Yi, which is a 38 tails battle cruiser with 6 18-inch guns, and we have battlecruiser Nanning. Older ship, 1940s Chengdu, with a couple of 12.9s. I don't have the ships, I do have the torpedoes. Let's go. Opening range is actually very favorable. The battleships from the Italians are about 50 clicks away from my position. This really allows me to set up these formations and position especially the Cursed Fish in such a place that they'll do most damage. The Cursed Fish 2 has plenty of fuel. These guys, yeah, the Shiheng should also have plenty of fuel. Let's make sure she's not part of the division. I can send these shells very, very far. 48 kilometer range with the armor piercing. Enigma Hun and Najia. Split these guys up. Najia is going to maintain course. You're going to change course to port. You're going to change course to starboard. So we're going to have a battleship with torpedoes here, here, and here. We're going to send one enormous disaster of a torpedo salvo at them. That's the objective. The rest of the ships I want to have as a battle line. So those ships are going to be the ones that actually, let's say, either tank the damage or deliver the damage or both. Ideally neither, of course, but, well, I mean not soak up the damage, but take the damage. I want Nanning and Lin Yi to follow the Enigma Hun in, so we can have these guys in one big division. Yep, and the Enigma Hun and the Gosrith. Excellent. These guys don't torp. Set your course, or set your speed to about 19 knots. And these guys don't torp anything unless otherwise directed. We're going to make sure that these torpedoes all more or less arrive at the same time. We do have some new ships in the fleet, except of course for the, or rather I should say besides those improved torpedo boats. I have the Lin Yi, which is a new ship which has 18-inch guns. Now I have the 18-inch Mark V research, but they're still packing the 18-inch Mark IV, capable of slugging something out to 56 clicks. They're guided by a Generation 2 radar rangefinder. So again, I still have to upgrade those, but they were, well, a little busy. Nanning is one of the older ships in the fleet. Not that interesting. We have the Gosrith, modernized with a couple of 16-inch guns, a triple and a dual, slugging out to 46 kilometers. And I believe that's, yeah, that's all of it. Alright. Show me the Italian ships. What exactly are we going to sink? What exactly are we dealing with? That's an interesting setup for your guns. This is the boat that has the 11.5s. And their sea turret is getting flanked by a couple of 6-inch guns. 6.2s to be exact. Very interesting setup. I would personally never come up with this, so I'm very eager to see how the AI does that. They made these little barbettes in reverse, I think. They did it here too. And as I had imagined, modernized dreadnoughts. Now that's the one class. Here is the more dangerous class. They're packing 4th tier guns, 4th guns grade, much like myself. These are the 15-inchers. Again, a modernized dreadnought. I think relatively similar displacement. But it's not a different... Do they have the same amount of funnels? No, they don't. It's a different design. It's not a refit of the existing design. So it's not that. Now my torpedoes can punch pretty far, 21 kilometers. They are not as detectable, being oxygen fueled. But before we get into range, well, we'll have to be a little patient. I'm going to slow you down a touch, allow the others to take up their position, and then it is on. And ideally, in the meanwhile, we'll be able to do a little bit of damage to them. Maybe slug them through the main deck a little bit, or potentially take out a destroyer or two. That would give them even less warning, which is definitely what I'm going for. You're an escort. Oh, you need to go. You need to go. I know it's not a big target, but it's not smoking itself up. So that's good news. Unfortunately, the Italians are not very big at blobbing. The Germans were. That was their demise. That was their undoing. These guys not exactly blobbed up. Oh, now you smoke. Not exactly blobbed up, so I can torpedo this. But there's quite a distance between that leader and the second leader. About 9 to 10 kilometers. That's not great. It's not great. Range. Got the Nagia there. Okay, yeah, you're fine. Start turning to port. Start measuring the range to the lead ship here. We got... Oh, not you. Not you. Not you. Hold on, these are heavy cruisers. These must not get torpedoed. These must not get torpedoed. Very, very important. The heavy cruisers are too agile. We need to wait until the heavy cruisers are dead, so we can start prioritizing the actual threats, the battleships. Nagia, engage these ships. You too. I know you only got 13s, but I've seen those 13s do very decent amounts of damage. And also, the more of these cruisers we take out, the less of a warning these battleships will get. So let it rain, and let them rip. Nice little smoke screen you're putting up there, but I'm throwing some really big shells back at you. And sizable numbers too. It's really only a matter of time until I start dealing damage. It's also going to be a matter of time until I start taking damage. Yep, there's the first bit of it. Gia took some damage. Range 26, we're still too far. As for my battle line, let's turn them broadside. What's the range on these torpedoes if they carry them? 9 clicks. That's for the light cruiser. 15 for the heavy. That's a threat. Okay, this light cruiser is going to go down most likely. I've already sunk a few of these in smaller escort missions / convoy missions, so I've already seen a few of them. Not that impressive. As for the Shiheng, I'm going to try and maintain a sort of equidistance from the other ships here. We got 29 kilometers there. Cursed Fish 2, 27. So we're doing pretty well. We're doing pretty well. You need to make a slight course correction to starboard. And we have the Gia, which is probably, yeah, about the same. About 28, 29 kilometers. I just need to get rid of these escorts first. So that's the objective. Punch these things out of the way. Especially the battleships. Oh, sorry, especially the heavies right now. Because these are now in torpedo range. Ow! They just destroyed a lot of my torpedoes on the Nagia. I'm going to retreat the Nagia. I need these ships back online very quickly. Because there is so much warship tonnage coming at me that I cannot be caught without the Cursed Fish as a sort of crowd control ships. We destroyed more torpedoes. Yep, we've lost another whole set of torpedo launchers. As for the Shiheng, how far away are you? You're still too far to launch. You're getting tracked by a light cruiser? Yeah, you're getting tracked by a light cruiser. Okay, we're gonna deal with this guy. Eliminate the warnings. And then torpedo the ships. Here's another warning line, but they're too close to the battleships for me to be able to torp. So that leaves the other Cursed Fish. You're getting some ridiculously good accuracy, and you need to, because you're probably also about to get torped. Good news for me. Come on. Kill it. It's already badly flooded. It's badly wounded. There you go. Torpedo launcher destroyed. Sink it. If only for the victory points. Damage done. Most by the 13 inchers. Isn't that interesting? Again, the 18 inchers are showing that they're not that dangerous. Or they haven't been shooting at the right target yet. Whichever it is. As for the formation of battleships, I'm going to keep turning them. Because I'm very concerned about getting torpedoed. You still have 54 torps left. Okay, there's one. I've got the triples. No, you're going to leave. The more of the structural integrity of that ship I can save, the better it's going to be. Can we please, pretty please, identify these? 93. Alright, Cursed Fish 2, what's your status? You're just about to be in range of some of the torpedoes. Or sorry, some of the battleships. And the other one, Shiheng. You're getting pretty much chased by that light cruiser now. The light cruisers have torpedoes, which I'm in range. Okay, turn. Assume extreme threat. Because this thing has gone broadside. Yep, that's torpedo launchers looking at me. Unacceptable. How are we doing with these escorts? Decent damage. 18 still haven't hit shit. You didn't launch. You probably got your launchers destroyed. You didn't launch. You did. Target unknown. I'm assuming one of my battleships is going to be on the receiving end of that. So let's continue the turn. This cruiser over here is not exactly going down as quickly as I want. And my ship is taking damage, which is bad news for the torpedo launchers on the Shiheng. There goes the Pache. What's your status? What is your status? Can you ideally destroy this? Because if this is gone... Like, this is their early warning system. This is going to mess up the entire torpedo attack if they get the opportunity. I probably should have kept these cursed fish a bit closer to the main line. Dealt with the escorts a bit more aggressively. And then had the torpedoes from the cursed fish still available. Because the cursed fish, remember, are not exactly designed to take a hit. These ships are generally better armored. So they're more designed, more suited to deal with the incoming damage. Come on, Delfino. Almost $1 billion for a heavy cruiser. Expensive, but then again, she's fast, doing 35 knots. What, with diesels? What propulsion you got there? Yeah, diesel 2. You're paying through the nose for that ship. Bit of a scam there, really. Ship is fine, lost 4.5% crew. What about you? Look at that. This ship definitely took a couple of hits, but she's lost 37% of her crew. If this was one of the Flight 1 cursed fish, she would probably have surrendered by now, causing the loss of another $1.4 billion warship. So I'm very happy that I actually decided to pull them out and play this very safe, because I do not want to lose these ships. Where's does she hang at? She hangs a bit too far now. Come back. You guys done? No, Delfino's taking some hits, but not enough. Oh, and you're fighting a heavy cruiser. And destroyer Freccia. Alright. Torpedo launchers, at least the triples, have been destroyed. I'm going to start launching some torps because I'm not sure how much more I'll get the opportunity to do so. There we go. Destroyed. Yeah, that just destroyed all of my triples. So I now have the quintuples. That's the 5 tubes. And I am hoping / banking on the fact that some of these will run long. And by doing so, will actually eventually make it all the way to those battleships. At this point, though, the Cursed Fish 2 has extended its, or has outlived its welcome. Having taken 33% crew loss due to all of those torpedo launchers getting blown up. These guys might be aware of some underwater threats. Though Serena does not seem to be taking any evasive action as of right now. Arguably, she should. Is that gonna hit? Yes. Bonk. 29,000 points of damage. If I get lucky, I might even hit the Freccia. Here's the retreating ship and the Cursed Fish 2. 33% crew loss. Not good. You're already down to 13, almost 14% crew lost. How fast are these Italian battleships? What speed are we looking at? 24. Oh, you're easy to catch up to. You're very easy to catch up to. Okay, boys. Let's start getting a bit more aggressive. Get rid of this heavy cruiser. Get rid of the other heavy cruiser. And make sure that they don't present any kind of threats to you. Are these things capable of sustaining a torpedo hit? Yes, they are. Serena doesn't really care. Now, it's possible that the torpedoes are still going to kind of make it to the target. I still have one of them here. And that's part of the spread. Here's the rest of them. I think the Italian ships are too slow. Freccia missed. No, it's fine. At least we scared off those heavy cruisers a bit. Hopefully for allowing for the Cursed Fish 2 to escape. But at 37% crew loss, I'm not that optimistic about their odds. Wait, we hit something all the way over there? How exactly did that happen? Oh, they're paper ships again? Big, big, big main belt. Decent aft deck, decent conning tower, and the rest is tissues. Alright then. Can you please start putting armor piercing on these guns? Because this heavy cruiser has a lot of armor, and you're not going to get through that with HE. And AP isn't necessarily that likely to bounce off the ship. 18-inch have actually done some damage now. But they still got a lot of catching up to do. To be fair to the 18-inch guns, though, I don't have that many. I just have the ones on the Lin Yi. And it's just the bow turret that's actually doing any kind of damage. So, yeah, it makes sense that the 18-inch don't actually do that much damage. Because the 13s and the 14s? Yeah, the 13s and the 16s outnumber them. There's decent damage. Distance, 40 clicks. Damn, we're gonna be here a while. Come on. Get rid of her. Good work. Ooh, 40% crew loss. I can outrace the Italians, but their shells are still getting delivered. At least the ones from the bigger ships are. With a 42-kilometer range. I'm on 37, so I just need to get a bit farther away if I want to try and survive this. As for victory points so far, I really haven't done much. I've sunk a couple of heavy cruisers, but that's it. I need to eliminate some of these some of these Italian battleships from the board if I want to have any chance of actually getting victory points. At least substantial amounts of victory points. Arania still not launching, although she can. No, she can't. They're not exactly using standardized heavy cruiser classes. And again, I'm not exactly using standardized ships either. Come on, gentlemen. This cruiser needs to go. Is the Arania armored? Holy moly. 11-inch foredeck. It's like most of the AI's thinking is, let's armor up the heavy cruisers. They go out in front, they take the punches. Because our battleships sure as hell can't. Now we're too close to that battle, or to that heavy cruiser. It's only a matter of time until it starts launching me. Okay, switch targets. There goes the Delfino. And here's the Shiheng. Hello. Charging into battle, undeterred. Oh, it's on. It is on. And their destroyer might not be in a position where it's capable of warning about what I'm about to do. Hold. Send it. Target. Hold. I think this should be the target right here. We're just on the edge of the torpedo range. But I think we can make something happen there. At that point, maybe a destroyer is going to warn. But whatever. Oh, hold on. You only sent part of your spread. That's interesting. So we sent part of the spread there. These guys are probably going to get warned. Let's send the rest of the spread there at the Nettuno. Do it. Now, please. Thank you. And now really time to disengage. Because before you're able to go, you're still going to have to take a lot of fire. Ah, the Orania is down. Excellent work. Okay. Now, let's start taking some shots at the lead battleship, the Fenice. And hopefully do some damage there. As for angle, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Oh, actually, these guys do have armor. That's the cheaper ship. Whatever. It's points, it has to go. Cursed Fish, made it out. Good. So all I really have left against all of those Italian ships is the main line. Oh, that is unfortunate. Start dodging. I hope we can make something happen here. Gosforth, turn a bit. A bit. You should be safe. Lin Yi took some damage. What was that? A torpedo. Oh. Unwelcome. Yeah, we're fine. Stop the torpedo avoidance. Okay, how are we doing with the torps? They've lost sight of the Cursed Fish. Excellent. Torps are here. Boom. Hit the Suprema. Hit the Serena. Hit the Suprema again. Structural integrity dropped to 25%. Many bulkheads. So she has an okay chance of surviving. Some of these Italian ships are... Well, if the Nettuno continues on her course, this is looking pretty bad for her. We still have another group there. They have, well, 2 to 3 potential candidates here. Whoa, that torpedo just decided to go do something else. Wait, a battleship launched torpedo? Oh, right, of course. Derp. Suprema, down to heavy flooding. You got many bulkheads, but cramped crew quarters. And your anti-torp? Oh, anti-torp 5? Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, you have got to be kidding. These guys all dodged? Ugh. Colombo took a couple of big hits. Regular trained crew, that's surprising. Are you capable of getting out of here, Shiheng? Yeah, you'll be fine. Just gotta get a bit of additional crew on her and she should be fine. Right. Seeing as this episode has gone on for quite a while, I'm gonna pause it here. In the next episode, we're gonna continue this fight, and you'll get to see how well or how poorly the rest of this battle develops. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let me know what your thoughts are on the war with Italy and Germany at the same time, and I'll see you soon for the next one.